Hey everybody, it's about Tally here, and I'm back tonight. And many of you know my wife passed away last year. Shortly thereafter, I was arrested and accused of murdering my wife. And while I was in jail, I got robbed. You know, so it's just been a real hard deal. And I've talked about this in other videos. Me and my wife were together 42 years. She was 14 and I was 15 when we started dating. She was 18 and I was 19 when we got married. And we have stuck together through thick and thin. And I'm not for 1 second saying that we had a perfect marriage. Nobody has a perfect marriage. It was hard work. There was a lot of problems, mostly caused by her family. And we'll talk a little bit more in a minute about that. Anyway, I manage her Facebook page now. It's been memorialized, and in the process of tending to her page tonight, I ran across this, and I put this up after she passed away. She passed away May 20th, but keep in mind, I didn't find out until the Monday after, late the 23rd, that she had passed away. And I started a GoFundMe, and I had forgotten to share it to her page, and I did. Nothing ever came of it. Well, like I said, I managed her page, and I got some notifications tonight about some friends request stuff, and I went over to tend to it. And while I was there, like I said, I came across this. First off, this lady right here, she replied. She had replied, "I'm so sorry. Just heard about this. Prayers for y'all." 1 year ago. That's literally 4 months after she passed away. And this scheme of things, no big deal, right? But then this lady pops in here. "Have you seen the news that he murdered her?" And she replied that she did. She replies back with a sad face. And I seen this tonight, and I replied, "All I can say is don't believe everything you see in the news." This Lori Baker immediately comes back and says, "Then what happened? We knew and loved her. We never met you at any meeting or event. Blows my mind that you would comment on this a year later. Did you search it out? You had to." No, I did not search it out. I managed her page. Uh, I'm not sure what meeting or event she was referring to because I was at hundreds over the years. In 2010 alone, I did 340 shows. The next year, it was 300 plus shows. It was like that all the way up till 2017 or so when her stroke started getting worse, and I was working less and less, doing shows and more here at the house trying to take care of her. My wife was in a group for grieving. When you have lost a loved one. Uh, I don't know if she was talking about those events. I provided sound for several of those events. I didn't make all of them, but I was there. Some. And anyway, this woman is surprised that uh, I comment on her after seeing it and posting on it, and then I post her pics. Uh, and this is what I told her. "No, ma'am, I did not search it out. I managed your page, and while taking care of it, I saw this." "But you're damn right," I commented. "Asked for meetings and events. Not sure which ones you're referring to. I was at hundreds of events over the years. If you're referring to her grief group, I provided sound at a few of their events. But meanwhile, you're going to sit over there and pass judgment. Sounds like you have. So answer this question. You say you knew and loved her. Then where were you when we were begging for help? Where were you when she was all but bedridden and I couldn't get a soul to help or sit with her when I had to go grocery shopping or go to the bank or go to pay bills? And I'd get home and I'd find her where she had fell on the floor and hurt herself. And yet Social Security and everyone else denied her benefits at every turn. She literally died without ever receiving any help. She never got a Social Security. She never got disability. She never got Medicaid. She never got Medicare. She didn't even get food stamps, folks. We literally went broke. And in the meantime, people like her sitting over passing judgment. When I couldn't even get her own family to walk across the alley to come sit with her or help me with her. It wasn't her family or her friends that stepped up. It was my family and my friends. And I know I shouldn't let stuff like this bother me, but man, it's a hard pill to swallow. And I don't expect anybody to believe me that don't know me or that don't know my wife and that ain't here. I don't expect you to take my word. But imagine this, if you will. Put yourself in my shoes and know that you're 100% innocent and that you didn't do anything to hurt your wife. And then not only lose your wife, but to go through everything that we went through during losing her, and then what followed after. And then you have people like this that pop up, and it's like this all the time, folks. But anyway, I lost track after 14 major strokes. You go ahead and sit over there and believe whatever you choose to believe. You and too many others were nowhere to be seen, but you knew and loved her. You know, so many people like to virtue signal on social media, but the truth of the matter is when you're asking for help or begging for help, they are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. But they're sure going to be there to judge you. They perceive that you're the one that fucked up. Pardon my French. I no longer believe anything that I see on the news without some evidence. I learned the hard way. Here in the state of Texas, especially the Permian Basin, all it takes to get an indictment is an officer that is willing to lie to a judge. They don't have to have any proof. They don't have to have any evidence. They don't even have to do an investigation. They didn't do an investigation when my wife died. To this day, nobody has talked to my family or my wife's family or any of my neighbors or anybody that's been here. To this day, a year and 4 months later, they have not talked to anybody. And everybody was like, well, once the sheriff's office completes their investigation, folks, you don't understand. The sheriff's office is never going to do an investigation. As far as they are concerned, their job is done. Their investigating officer, who never did an investigation, went up and lied to a judge and got me arrested and indicted for murder. Their job's over. Now it's up to the district attorney to prove that they have a case, and it's up to my attorney to prove that they don't. My attorney will be the one that's, and the investigator that we've hired will be the ones to, in fact, do the investigation. So, take everything that you see in the news and in mainstream, take it with a grain of salt. Because sometimes we think we know what the truth is and then find out later that the media lied to us, or that they reported on something. Because here's the thing: I've seen the TV broadcast where they announced that I was arrested for murder. I've seen the news broadcast where they announced that I was indicted for murder. They announced that one as I was getting out of jail. They made it a point to re-release that story and smear my name all over the news, trying to ruin me here locally. And they did. But this is what they did. The investigating officer basically wrote out a statement. That's what she presented to a judge to get me arrested. That statement was then used by the district attorney to get me indicted, and that is the statement that they released to the TV stations and the newspaper, word for word, copy and paste. And we've talked about this before. I'm hoping that I can get my name cleared, and that I survive this, and that I make it long enough to get my day in court and I clear my name. Because if I do, I am going to sue everybody that's involved, everybody that I can possibly sue. And it's not about the money. I hope we win a bunch of money so I can go on to do better things with it. My main goal is to make sure that what that investigator did to me never gets done to somebody else. That investigator should be ashamed of herself. But she's not. She's sleeping just fine. She don't care. It's funny how that works. Let me tell you something, folks, that I have learned by paying close attention. Law enforcement lies every day. They lie to judges. They lie to the media. They lie to the district attorney's office. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And they think some of them honestly believe that they're doing a good thing. When the reality is they have become no better than the people that they're prosecuting. And that's my belief. I've always held law enforcement to a high standard. I've held our legal system to a high standard, and blindly believed everything that I saw in the news, only to find out that I placed my faith and my trust in the wrong places, and that everything I thought I knew when it come to our legal system and our media and our law enforcement was wrong. And here's the thing: there's good people right here in Ector County law enforcement. Don't take me wrong, there are. I have met them. I've dealt with them. Wonderful people, but I've met the bad ones too. And it's bad, folks. I'm a little bit down tonight because stuff like that really, really kicks me in the nuts. And I have to deal with stuff like that all the time. But I'm gonna tell the whole wide world, the district attorney's office can use this against me. They want to do. I loved my wife. We were together 42 years, and I think about my wife every single day. I miss her every single day, and I'm gonna miss her until the day I die. And I'm gonna share her picture, and I'm gonna talk about my feelings right up until I can't. Uh, even if I wasn't going through what I'm going through right now, I have no interest in finding a new relationship or a new wife or a new girlfriend, anything. I'm perfectly content to spend the rest of my days single. I'm not saying that won't ever change, but I don't see it changing, and I'm okay that if it doesn't. I would prefer that it didn't. I don't want to start all over again in another relationship. I had the love of my life, for better and for worse. Uh, I get so frustrated with people that don't know, sitting over out here judging me, when the fact of the matter is her own family didn't care enough to help. They all talk a good game now, but nowhere to be found when we needed them, when we were begging for help. You know, most of her family that's dead from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, uh, you name it. And, and don't get me wrong, like her brother lives right across the alley from me, and now he's all fucked off. Pardon my English. I don't see him lasting a lot longer if he keeps going down the road he's going. But when she was alive, he wouldn't even walk across the street to see her, let alone help. But he expected us to help him when he needed it, and we did, to the point that it hurt us badly. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say or how I'm supposed to feel, because it changes every day. It's an emotional roller coaster, and I don't care how you feel or what you say. Somebody's going to find fault with it. Somebody's going to, oh well, you're not grieving enough, or you're not remembering her enough, or you're not thinking of her enough. And then you've got the other side going, well, you're carrying on too much. It ain't all that. Uh, it's all that and then some, more than most people will ever imagine. The whole thing is just too much sometimes. But you know what? I, I've said this in other videos. Even though I'm ready to, if the good Lord would come right now and take me, I'm ready to go. I'm not suicidal. In fact, if somebody showed up and tried to kill me, I have been fighting to survive so long that I would defend myself to the very end, because I don't know anything any different. But it doesn't change the fact I'm ready to go home. I really am. And it gets to be too much sometimes this time of the night when you're sitting there knowing that your electricity can go off any minute. You don't have the money to get it turned back on, that you don't have the money for groceries. Here's what a lot of y'all don't know is last week, I had been going without food for a couple of weeks. Other than feeding my dog, I was literally starving, and I finally got enough money to call Walmart, where I got online and placed my order, and they delivered $100 worth of groceries out here. The groceries no sooner got here, and I got them put up, and my electricity went off. And that's because while I was in jail, a bunch of meth heads piled up in here, robbed me blind. My son did not pay my electric bill with my money. He blew all the money. When the electricity got cut off, they tampered with my meter. So Encore Electric came out and put 2 locks on the meter box and cut the wires coming into my meter box. Well, we own the property next door, and we used to have renters over there, and there's electricity from my brother-in-law's property to my lot next door, so he let me tie into that lot next door so I'd have electricity, and I pay him what I can every month. Well, here's the thing. He ain't been paying his bill. He's been taking the money he gets from me and from his renter and from my son and from his cousin. And what he's done with that money, I don't know, but he hadn't paid his light bill in a couple of months. He owed him $3,200. So they cut the lights off. And we got it back on. He got it back on somehow. He didn't pay the bill. I think he got an extension. So it's just a matter of time before my electricity goes off. When it does, I just might as well be dead, because I can't go anywhere else. I legally and physically and financially cannot go anywhere else. So yeah. So y'all, hopefully y'all understand, and y'all forgive me my ups and downs over here on YouTube. But that's the reality. That's what I'm dealing with. And it's probably one of the reasons why I defend people like Oliver Anthony so much, is because a lie is a lie is a lie. And I just, even though I'm just one voice, I'm going to speak up and be heard, and call that lie for what it is if I hear it or I see it. Hope that makes sense. Y'all stay safe wherever you are in the world today. Until next time, this is Vitali over here at OG Gamers Live, and I'm out of here.